Hey guys, Nick here with the newest episode of Fanfiction Friday. And today I have, I think, what might be the last fanfiction by TheAlmightyUltimix. This one's called The Midnight Drive. It is another Phineas and Ferb fanfiction. But it's a good one in my opinion, and it's definitely worth reading out for you guys. The description goes, in their adult life, Phineas and Ferb rarely get to spend some brotherly time together. Taking a drive up the mountain helps them take the edge off their busy lives and catch up with each other. The fact that there's a man tied up in the trunk should be completely irrelevant. Again, there's one line before, but it definitely fits. It's TheAlmightyUltimix's style of writing and storytelling. I think the fact that it's different to how Phineas and Ferb fanfictions are normally written, but it's still a really good fanfiction by a really good writer. So let's get started. On a cool autumn night in the mountains of the tri-state area, a lone car was steadily making its way up the rarely used dirt road. Jesus, I swear we lost a bumper on that one. Phineas turned in the passenger seat and tried to look out the back window, but it was impossible to see out of it because of the darkness outside and multiple cracks had stretched along it. Just then, the car lurched as one of the front wheels ran over a pothole, causing Phineas to be thrown into the filthy-looking door. Son of a bitch! Does this car even have suspension? The other occupant in the car said nothing, only rolling his eyes at his brother's behaviour. It's easy for you to say your seat actually has a seatbelt. Phineas made a face of disgust when he noticed that a large amount of dirt had stuck to his sleeve. Ferb watched Phineas out of the corner of his eyes. He tried to the dirt away. He had forgotten how easily and accurately Phineas could read his body language and the subtle changes in his facial expressions. This had been the first time they'd actually spent any length of time together where they weren't surrounded by corporate executives. Other shareholders, being bombarded by demands from people who thought that they knew everything but didn't even have a quarter of their individual, or tech suck-ups trying to win themselves favor, as if the standard $6,000 Christmas bonus that was given to all employees of the 200 and something companies they owned wasn't generous enough. But that's what happens when you're a multi-trillionaire and a husband. Guy time took a back seat to everything else. Oh, multi-trillionaire? What did you even pay for this thing? Phineas said, trying to find a position in the seat where he felt that he wouldn't be at risk of one of the metal rods sodomizing him on the next bump. A few loud bangs came from the back of the car. 40. Phineas ceased his complaining and stared at his brother, slack-jawed. 40, he said with disbelief. You paid $40,000 for this piece of shit. For the entire dealership you bought this from probably wasn't even worth that much money. I didn't buy it from a dealership, Ferb snapped. He gave a sideways glare to his brother for assuming he would be so stupid as to spend so much money without a good cause. I bought it from a low-class family that was asking for less than 20 times what I bought it for. Oh well, good for you, Phineas said, then grunted when another pothole caused him to bang his knee against the dashboard. A couple of choice words and rubbed his sore knee. So the World Cup is starting soon, you looking forward to that? Ferb grinned, swerving to try and avoid a bad bump in the road. More loud noises came from the trunk. I know, the girls aren't that big on watching the game, and so what I was thinking was we could send them this really high-class spa that's uptown for the entire day, so we can watch the first game together. Ferb nodded. Then we've got a meeting that's supposed to run all day on the second game, but I figured if we pull an all-nighter or two, we can reschedule it for earlier, and then we can sneak into your office for the rest of the day and watch the second game. Again, Ferb nodded. I haven't figured out how we're going to sneak away for the third game, but I'm sure something will come to me. Why don't we just schedule the day off work and tell our wives we want to watch the game together? Phineas blinked, staring at his brother. Then, with a completely straight face, said, Well, where's the fun in that? Both of them showed a good laugh that lasted for nearly a minute. Neither of them paid attention to the frantic banging in the back. remember when we were kids and we built with the football X7 when Phineas stroked trying and failing to hold in some laughter? Oh yeah, I remember that episode. That was a good one. Remember when Baljeet got nailed in the crotch with the ball? Ferb snorted and doubled over, gripping the steering wheel. He had forgotten about that little injury their friend had sustained years ago. Oh man, those were good times, Phineas happily sighed. He had a faraway look in his eyes. Does he still flinch whenever a football comes toward him? Phineas laughed. Yeah, man, you should say it. His hands immediately shoot down to protect himself of whenever something's coming his way. Phineas suddenly let out a louder laugh. One time, Isabella came in my office with me, and Baljeet came in and to get the master keyring. So Isabella lobbed them into him, and when he went to protect himself, only he had a cup of coffee in his hand, so he ended up dumping the entire thing on his crotch. The two men howled with laughter at the point where Ferb about to stop driving for a few minutes until they got themselves under control. After a few more minutes, it's a reminiscing about the past, small talk, driving, and Phineas swearing up a storm every time a bump in the road would cause him physical injury. They came to their destination. The dirt trail ended, leading to a grassy cliff that overlooked most of the forest outside of Danville. Ferb drove off the road, pulling up only a few feet shy of the cliff's edge. You get the front, I'll get the back, Phineas said, holding up a screwdriver. It only took half a minute for the two to remove the license plates from the car. Ferb took the license plate from his brother and pulled out two metallic boxes with straps on them from the back seat of the car. What's our alibi this time? We decided to take off from work early tonight to go see the new Space Adventure reboot, Ferb said, stuffing the license plates in a compartment of metal boxes. By the way, here's your ticket, Ferb said, reaching in the jacket and giving said ticket to Phineas. Alrighty, I think that's everything, Ferb nodded. Both of them walked to the trunk of the car where the incessant bang had begun a few minutes ago. Ferb popped the trunk open, revealing a middle-aged man with thinning brown hair and brown eyes. He was wearing a suit similar to Phineas and Ferb, but his didn't look nearly as expensive. Also, his arms and legs had been bound together by duct tape, and he had a large strip of the same stuff covering his mouth. Hello, Mr. Pantillitis. How's your night been going so far? Phineas asked with a smile. Mr. Pantillitis glared at them both, the bruise on his left eye that had cut the swell shut, hampering its effect. The man thrashed against his bindings, screaming something incomprehensible at the two of them. Believe me, the drive up wasn't all sunshine and rainbows for us either, Phineas said, still not dropping his carefree smile. I'm sure you have questions as to why we've brought you here. No. Right, brother of mine, Phineas clasped his hand on Ferb's shoulder. See, we know you stole $30,000 from Flintech back in January. Now don't try and deny it. We showed several other contractors the before and after pictures of the mandatory renovations, and each of them gave us a number far under what you paid for it. Ferb snorted in amusement. It sounded like Phineas was lecturing a child and a grown man, and they had tied up. We also took the liberty of checking all those secret bank accounts you have overseas, and we know the contracting company you hired, the one owned by your nephew, in case you thought we wouldn't figure that out. And we know he wired the $30,000 you overpaid him. Mr. Pantillitis was no longer glaring, but now wide-eyed with fear. Now don't worry, we're not going to kill your nephew. We know how hard it can be when you're just starting up in the business world. Well, a need for money can make men with the strongest of characters do some pretty bad things. Phineas clasped his hands, his happy smile turning sinister. You, on the other hand, you disgusting piece of shit, not only stole our money, but you used your nephew to do it. $30,000 is nothing to us. We can make more than twice that in a day. Right, so why were you even bothering with this? Phineas leaned down and closer to Mr. Pantillitis, his blue eyes hard and cold like diamonds. Say, you didn't just steal money from us. Phineas's tone was low and sent a shiver of dread down the other man's spine. Every company that we own donates a percentage of its profits to charities all over the world. The more money one company makes, the more money is donated. So when you stole money from our company, you weren't just stealing money from us. We would have simply fired you for that. You stole money from people who need it, and we won't have another chance to do it again. Until let out a muffled scream, and Miss Ferb slammed the lid closed. He went and got into the driver's side door, keeping his foot on the brakes while he put the car in neutral. He got out and gave Phineas a nod. Phineas nodded back and began to push against the trunk. Ferb followed suit, pushing on the frame with one hand while keeping the wheel straight on the other. Finally, they rolled the front wheels over the edge of the cliff, and gravity did the rest of the work for them. The car disappeared over a cliff and landed on the ground below with a mighty crash. Phineas and Ferb peered over the ledge and at the crumpled mangle of metal below. That's where the fuel tank should have exploded when a deafening bang cut him off of mid-sentence, and caused them both to stumble back. Never mind. The two brothers stayed there for a few minutes. It's watching the flames burning away. You know, Ferb turned to look at him, still staring at the car. I'm not quite sure about this, but I think he's dead. They both shared another quick laugh, walking away from the edge. Is Isabella expecting you back soon? And Ferb asked, picking up one of the metal boxes, slipping his arms through the straps up like a backpack. I don't think so. Why? Phineas asked, doing the same. I didn't get a chance to eat anything before we headed out, and I was going to check out that new steakhouse that opened up by the office. Care to join me? Sure, I haven't had a good steak in ages. I know you're paying, dude. Both of them clicked a button on the side edge of the boxes, and instantly a pair of miniature jet engines spouted from the sides. Jetpacks, still one of our best inventions. I can't believe they never caught on. The two of them shot into the sky, heading back towards town. That reminds me, do you remember the time the voices faded as they flew farther and farther away, leaving the flaming wreck behind? And that was The Midnight Drama. It's definitely one of the more darker fan fictions I've read. Then again, and the last one I read was The Hunt. Wait, was it? I have a list right here. Yeah, it was. Yeah, definitely one of the darker ones that I read. But I personally hope you guys enjoyed that one. And don't forget to check out some more stories by TheAlmightyUltimix. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the last Phineas and Ferb fanfiction from TheAlmightyUltimix that I'm going to be reading. And next time, and I hope you guys remember to next time when I will be reading An Eye for an Eye Patch, a Black Butler fanfiction. That's one that I've been waiting to read for a while now. Oh, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Bye!